Jenny with Gogh and the Gogh box, and today I'm here to teach you guys the happy elephant painting, which is really fun and cute. It was designed by one of my instructors in the studio, Annalise. She makes the cutest kids paintings, and we're going to go through it today step by step. I'll show you exactly how to paint this, and then we get to all decorate our elephants completely differently at the end, which is really fun. And I'll show some extra special things you can do to decorate your elephant. But let's first talk about what we need. So I have, if you've got the kit that comes in the mail to you, I have an 11 by 14 canvas, and I have it set in landscape format, so I have a nice big area to put the elephant trunk, because they have a really long trunk. I have a little collection of brushes. I don't know if I'll use all of these, but what I definitely want is like a large, medium, and small brush. When I teach kids, I call it Dad, Mom, and Baby. That's pretty easy to remember. So large, medium, and small. Mine has a little hair hanging off of it. And then let's talk about colors. So this painting, you can use any color you like. Black and white are good if you want to do just like a standard colored elephant, which obviously we all know is gray. Black and white make gray. But any other additional color you want to add in there, and then we can mix these together. I'll show you different color mixes we can make based off these 3 colors, and we'll go from there. So I have, in the kit that came to you if you ordered this Happy Elephant kit, it comes with black and white. It comes with a bright lemon yellow. It comes with a turquoise blue, which we call Bahama blue, because it looks like the Bahama Ocean. And then we have, if that's a thing, Bahama Ocean. I think of Bahamas, the water. Okay, so the water around the Bahamas. And then we have this, it's called phthalo red. So to me, I look at it and I say pink. It's actually kind of a hot pink color. It's not quite red, and it's not quite pink. It's just kind of like the way it looks if you make a smoothie with raspberries in it. Turns that color. So I'm going to set this aside. You'll also want a paper towel or some kind of old rag that you can dry your paintbrushes off of when you wash them off. And then you'll want to have an old mug or plastic or paper cup, something you can fill with water to wash your brushes off. So I think we've got everything going here. And real quick on a piece of paper, I'm going to show you what we're going to be doing. Every time I teach kids and adults animals, I always draw them out by shape, because it's really easy to draw a circle rather than say, if I were to say, okay, draw an elephant head here, everybody would get really nervous. So I say, well, we're going to draw a circle. And that's exactly what we're going to do. So on this painting, the circle is partway off the canvas, but more than half of it is on the canvas. So I'm going to start by making like a bowling ball sized circle, like so. And you guys don't have to do this now, because we're going to do this with paint. I just want to show you before I teach it with paint. I'll show you what we do. And then I make what would be the front of the elephant's like throat area. Right here, it's this part. And then the trunk is pretty easy to make, and it's really fun. It just comes off like this, and then you can do fun stuff with it. You can curl it up, and then just make sure you parallel that line. But as you get up here around the curve, you want it to get a little bit closer. So you can see it's a little thicker here, and then gets a little bit thinner here. So you can round this off at the top, or you can make it have a little dip in it. Like when I see elephants, I always see like they have like this little dip in their trunk there. And then we're going to draw the ears, one ear, and then the eyes and all that. So you can see it comes together very, very easy. And I'm going to guide you through that with paint. So I'll set this aside, and let's pick up our palette. Color-wise, the background is a very pale kind of sky blue, and I actually sketched the elephant out in that color because it allows us to color in the background around the elephant, and then not have all the gray paint smear around like crazy. So let's pick a brush here. I'm going to pick my middle-sized brush. So that's the one I called Mom Brush. And it looks like this is you might have a round brush or you might have a flat brush. It doesn't really matter. Just your medium-sized brush. Go ahead and dip it in water Dry it off on your little towel here. And let's mix white with this turquoise blue. So you make a blue that you like. It can be really, really light and pale, or it can be more closer to the actual turquoise color. I'm kind of thinking like sky blue would be really nice here. I like that. But you can do any background color you want. If you want to do a yellow background or a pink background or something different than the blue, feel free to do that. It's good for you to play around and experiment with creativity and experiment with making your own decisions and see what works and what doesn't. And then the next time you paint, you know how to do it. Okay, so I'm going to draw my big bowling ball here, and it's quite large. So just take your time. Let's pretend we're drawing a moon, but there's just a small part of the moon that's off the edge here. So you can see it's really close to a full circle. I would call it like 7/8 of a circle. And now I'm just going to draw the front throat neck area. Remember, all of this is going to get filled in with gray, so you won't see these blue outlines. So they're just going to be here right now. Now for the trunk, I love doing the trunk. Now you can make a trunk that curves up, or you can make a funny snaky trunk. You can make one that kind of curves down, like maybe it's going to feed itself a little bite to eat. I think the easiest one with the layout of our canvas is probably to do one that curves up, like what's in the original. Plus on the original painting, we have some little leaves in the elephant's trunk, like she's holding some leaves up to see what they are before she puts them in her mouth. That's what I'm guessing anyway. So as this curves around, I'm going to come out just a little bit, just to get myself started. And then I'm going to come down like a big U shape. See how it makes kind of a U shape, or like, looks like a ski jump right now. Then I'm going to curl way up here to where this elephant is bringing her snout or his snout back around to the face to see those leaves. And underneath, I want this part to be pretty wide. So I'm going to start way down here. I'm going to parallel this. And then as I go up further, I'm getting just a little bit closer to this original line. So it's, again, a little thicker here, thinner out this way. About like this. I don't want it too skinny, or else it would look like there might be something medical issue with the trunk and the elephant needs some kind of help. We don't want it too skinny. The elephant has to be able to breathe, and they do breathe through this. This is their nose, basically. So at the top, you can either curve it over like this, or you can do like what I did where I had kind of that little dip, like almost like a heart shape at the top here. Either way, I wanted to show you both ways. And then we're going to wash this brush. So we're not going to draw the ear, we're not going to draw the eye or any of that yet until we get the gray base on. But before we get the gray base on, let's fill in the background with this blue color. And that's where you want to use your dad brush, your biggest brush. Clean off your middle-sized brush. That's the one I called Mom, the Mom brush. Go ahead and dry that one off. Mom gets to she got her bath, and now she gets to take a nap. Good night, Mom. We're going to pick up dad brush now. So dad brush will be your biggest brush. You might have one that's a little bit bigger than this or a little bit smaller. Just go ahead and use whatever your big brush is that you have. And let's dip it in water. Kind of brush it on the bottom of the cup. Help wake up those bristles just a bit. Dad needs to wake up. And then we're going to dry the brush on the paper towel. Make it really dry. You don't want any drippy water coming off of this because it can smear up on your canvas and look funny. So let's take our light blue color, the color we drew everything out with, and I'm just going to paint the background all around the elephant. You can do short, choppy brush strokes here like this, or you can do long ones. You can go up and down or side to side, whatever feels good to you. I do like filling in backgrounds. It's a great way to get used to the paintbrush and start feeling comfortable with how it moves in your hand and how you can use a skinny edge of the brush to fill in certain areas, or you can use the wide side if you want to fill in a big area. Or if you've got a round brush, you can experiment with that too. Like how hard to push. If you use really light pressure, you get nice thin lines, which sometimes you want. If you use a heavier pressure, you're going to get nice thick lines, which sometimes you want. For filling in the background, we just want to get as much coverage as we can. Take your time. Sometimes I might go a little bit faster only because I've painted the painting a lot of times, and plus on the video tutorial, I can't go around and see what point you're at on your painting, which I can do when I teach on the stage at the studio. So just if I'm going a little too fast and you're still working on filling in the background by the time I'm ready to move on with painting the elephant, just pause the video and catch up. And then you can unpause it and get right back to it. This is such a beautiful color. This elephant would look really cute in a night scene with stars too. I might show you some fun extra credit stuff we can do. I usually will do that when I'm teaching. I kind of sometimes like to go off from the original a little bit just to show you that it's okay. And it's really important for you guys to feel like it's okay to be creative, because that will help you as you grow older and do art and do many things in life. You get to, make your own decisions. If you like a pink elephant, you can make a pink elephant. If you like a yellow elephant, you can make a yellow elephant. It's your paint, your painting, and you get to decide. That's what is kind of fun about painting, is you get to create your own little world. You don't have to create something that is like what you would see in a camera photo. If you want a pink elephant with yellow stripes, make yourself a pink elephant with yellow stripes. All those little things like that, when you make little decisions like that are your own decision, they help build confidence, which is something that is very, very important as you grow older and as you're young too, to have confidence in the decisions you make. And to say, I like it this way, so I'm going to make it this way. Oops, I got a little bit of yellow in the background, but that's okay. It actually just blended right in. But this is such a plain background that there's all kinds of things you could do. You could mix in some other colors if you want. What I'm going to do is I'm going to paint it this light blue, and then I'll show you how to put some fun little like firefly looking things in the background, which will look really cute with this elephant. All right. Okay, that looks pretty good. So you can kind of see, right now it's just this bald elephant with no ear, but we've got a good trunk, and I've got some areas that where when I paint the gray paint on, I can clean up. Like I've got some areas where when I filled in, maybe my trunk ended up a little too skinny. That's super common. When you fill in the elephant with the gray, you can clean up anything you need. I'm gonna wash my brush off now. Wash, wash. Give Dad a bath. Dad doesn't get to take a nap yet. He has to work some more. So we're gonna dry the brush off. Dry it off real good. We don't want any excess water dripping off this brush. If we were working with watercolor paint, I would say that's okay, but we're working with acrylic paint and we don't want water mixed in it for this painting. Now, I'm going to mix my gray, which is just sort of a light to medium gray. You decide if you want a dark gray elephant or a light gray elephant or a medium gray elephant. And even mixing this blue with black makes a gray, so don't worry if you have blue here. I'm just going to scrape off a little white, and yes, I'm picking up a little blue with it, but I know that mixing the black with it is still going to turn gray. So do just a little bit of black mixed in at a time, because the black paint will completely overpower the white. And suddenly it turns very dark very fast. I feel like this is a pretty decent gray. It's kind of a medium to light gray. But remember, your elephant doesn't have to be gray. You can do whatever color you like. So I've got my gray. My plain old gray elephant. And all I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna fill in this whole, so we won't see any of these outlines, like the neck and the face are gonna merge into one, and the trunk and the head are gonna merge into one. We won't see any blue lines. Go ahead and start where it feels comfortable. I usually just start off the edge of the canvas. And see how I can turn the brush different directions if you're using a flat brush. You can turn the brush different directions to fill in smaller areas. The blue paint dries really fast. That's one of the things I really like about that color. So when I teach kids classes in the studio, we don't have to wait around super long for everybody to have their painting dry because it dries really fast. So when I'm filling in Mr. or Mrs. Elephant, you'll notice I kind of skip around a little bit. I don't really know why I do that. I think my brain just thinks ahead of itself. And it says, let's paint here. No, wait, let's paint here. No, let's paint over here. But in the end, as long as you get everything filled, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter at all. So in here, this big area, I'll use nice big brush strokes with the dad brush. And remember, I'm going to say it several times because I want you to remember that you can pause the video if it feels like it's going a little bit too fast, which it might be, because there really aren't any breaks for me to walk around and look at your paintings. Unfortunately, I would love to see your paintings and how you guys are doing. I am going to save a little bit of white. I might have to give myself a little more because I'm ending up using a lot of it. Practice how your brush feels. Practice how it feels to hold your brush way down here. And then practice what it feels like to hold your brush in the middle. And practice what it feels like if you hold your brush way out here. The chances are most of you are going to feel comfortable holding the brush about right in the middle. Maybe a little closer to this little middle tip of the brush, which is called the ferrule. Whoops, I made a little bit darker gray when I made some more paint. But you know what I do in that case? I blend it in. I just blend it outward into the wet paint. If it's really, really dark, you can remix some white into it and just paint over. I feel like my canvas is really thirsty and is really sucking up the paint tonight. Thirsty. Now, some of you may have drawn a really tiny, skinny trunk, and that's totally fine. But what I want to let you know is if it feels better to you to use a smaller brush to fill that in, then do that. You can give Dad a bath and put Dad away for a nap and pick up maybe your mom brush or your baby brush. See which one feels good. The trunk is probably going to be the more complicated part to fill in. It's not hard, really, but compared to this big round open area, it's going to be a little bit more difficult. So just take your time. One of the things I like to do when I'm coloring in a small shape like this is I'll maybe trace along. Trace the shape and then fill it in. But I would say just do what feels right to you. Everybody has their own approach. am running out of white. I keep having to mix more and more and more and more gray, and you probably will too. Because it's a lot of elephant to fill in. They are ginormous creatures. One thing I've always wanted to do is I've always wanted to ride an elephant. I have seen pictures of it. I've ridden a camel. That was interesting. But I've never ridden on an elephant. Maybe one day. But I think more than that, what would be more fun than that is to actually be able to paint on an elephant. Like in certain countries and certain festivals and celebrations, they will actually paint the elephant with, I'm sure they use like a chalk-based or egg-based paint, like tempera paint, and something that washes off really easy. Because certain paints wouldn't wash off very easy, and we want the poor elephant to not have to have paint on it forever. But I think that would be so much fun to paint your own design on an elephant, as long as it was a very patient, nice elephant that's not gonna like whack you with its trunk. So I've got a really small area up here which I left to fill in with the mom brush. I realize, Paul, I'm using a pad of paper and not... I was like, why is that absorbing in so much?
Oh.
I think it's probably okay.
Yeah.
I'm washing off the dad brush. He can go down for a little nap now. I don't even think we use dad brush again. So we'll just say, good night, Dad. Take it easy. You worked hard. Take a nap. And now I'm going to pick up mom brush. And that's my middle-sized brush. That's the one I drew the elephant out with. And I feel like, let me get some more white paint here. I gotta figure out where I put it. Oh, I put it away. How unlike me. I usually leave them out. A little more white paint for me. And I'll make a little more gray. I think I've mixed gray maybe 4 or 5 times throughout this painting. But now I'm using this small brush at the top. You maybe will find that using the baby brush is better for you. But I wanted to make the tip of the trunk. You can curve it off in a little like C-shaped curve, like a little half round. Or you can do that little bump in the middle like they have when you see them from the side. Either way works. I think the original just has a curve. A C-shaped curve, it's really easy. There we go. Looks pretty good. Now, I'm not going to worry too much about the edges. Like, I've got some edges that are sort of where I've kind of run out of paint through here, and it just looks kind of hazy. But that's going to get outlined with black, because the black outlining really helps set our elephant out from the background, and it looks really cute. I'm thinking about something I could do, and you could too. Like, I could add a little mouth. I'll show you how I would do that. Definitely want to use your baby brush, whether you have this one or a skinnier one, or just something similar, your smallest brush. Definitely dip it in some water, just get it a little bit damp, and then dry it off really good. Now, on the original painting that is on our website, the elephant just has a smile, and I can show you how to do that. But I'm going to show you how to do some extra right now, because I think it would be fun and cute, and I can just see it. I can visualize it in my head. Let's see if I can make it on the canvas the way I see it in my head. So they have like this little lip under here, and it's just a triangle shape. See that? I just drew a triangle. A triangle that's kind of pointed right down at this lower corner. And then I'm going to fill that in with the gray. Oh, that's so cute. I love that. That's adorable. So it looks like our elephant is just really, really happy. Which they should be. Big old gentle giants. Okay. So this needs to dry a little bit. Especially like some of you kiddos like to use really thick paint which I think is awesome, but it takes a little bit longer to dry. One thing you can do is, let me just smooth something out real quick. One thing you can do for drying, you can pause the video and have a parent help you and get a hair dryer. Make sure you plug it in somewhere that's not near your water, because electricity and water are very, very bad together. And you can blow dry your painting. It takes about 30 seconds to dry the whole thing. But make sure you have a parent help you with that. So if needed at any time, if you've got really a thick spot that just won't dry on its own very fast, then you can get that hairdryer out with the help of your parent. Okay, I want to talk about the background and things we can do in the background to make it really fun and decorate it up. So in the original, there's just little green dots everywhere, almost like they're leaves, like small leaves flying around in the background. I'll show you how to do those, but I'll also show you how to do some other fun things. This is exactly how I teach this one in the studio, just because it's fun to have different options to choose from. One thing I like to do, I use my baby brush. I'm going to mix white and then this pinkish color together to get kind of like a bubblegum pink. Mixy, mixy, mixy. This is such a pretty color. And then I will take and I'll paint like a little swirl, like a spiral. So see how I start from the center and work my way out? I want you to leave this area fairly clear because we're going to put some leaves up in the top of the trunk there. But these little spiral things are fun. It almost looks like there's just party confetti happening here. I bet this is just one of those like Indian festivals where the elephant's all painted and there's all kinds of confetti and so much fun. So I did a few spirals. Yeah, I did 4. Let's look at something else we could do. I was telling you earlier about different things I like to do in the background. One thing I love to do is to take my baby brush and I'll poke it in some white and I'll put like a little white dot down. And here's where you're going to get your fingers a little painty, but it does dry and it does clean off your fingers at the end, just some soap and water. So I've got this wet dot of paint on here. I'm going to take my finger real lightly, go around and around until I am smudging this around into a little orb. You can hardly see it. And then I'll put a dot right back in the center. So I'll do one over here. Smudge it around into a little, oops, I need more paint. Smudge it around into a little glowing orb and then put a dot right back in the center. What are these? Well, I always think of these as like this time of year when it's all sunny out and there's green leaves. This is probably like cottonwood, which makes lots of adults sneeze. But this could also be little fireflies. That's what I was saying earlier. They're like little fireflies. When I do winter paintings, this is sometimes how I do snow. When I do starry night scenes, I will do some stars like this mixed in with tiny little dots, because then you have these really pretty glowing stars mixed in along with little tiny dot stars. So dot it down, use your finger, smudge it into a little glowy orb, and then put a dot right back in. You don't have to do this if you don't want to get your fingers dirty. I'll show you a way to do it. It doesn't work quite as good, but it does work. If you want to do it without getting your finger dirty, you can take the white on your brush, but make sure you wipe up most of it off on the paper towel. So you have very little tiny bit of paint on your brush. And then dab it on the canvas and just swirl it into a circle. And keep going until your brush runs out of paint. So you get the same sort of feel, like that glowy orb. And then I put my dot right back in the center. I'll do another one that way. I did a big painting with wish flowers on it the other day. You know those dandelion wishes that you make a wish and you blow and they just go everywhere? This is exactly how I did those. Dot, swirl. Oh, this is going to be a big one. I'm going to use my finger to help that along. Smooth it in a bit. And I think I've got room for one right here. Fun. Let's see what else we could do. So I'll show you, on the original I said it had these like green dots, which are probably supposed to be leaves, but we could think of it as confetti. To me, it looks like confetti, but I'm going to show you how to make green. A lot of you probably already know what two colors on this palette we could mix together to make green. And the two colors are blue and yellow. Even though this isn't a traditional blue, like it's not a dark blue, it's a turquoise blue. It'll still make a lime green. If you use a little bit darker blue, maybe you have an extra paint color at home, you'll make more of a leafy green. So you choose what you like. But I'm going to scrape off some of this with my mom brush. And then I'm going to scrape off some yellow with my mom brush. And they're going to mix together. And you can add more yellow to it if you want a really limey green. I like that. Yay! Now, for painting on the canvas, I don't think I want to use my mom brush. She's just a little too, I need something a little more delicate because I'm going to be doing some small stuff. So, Mom, we're going to wash this beautiful paint color off of you. Swish the brush back and forth across the bottom of the cup, but be careful. You don't want to poke up and down because that's going to make your brush bristles fray out over time, and then they become very, very hard, almost impossible to paint with. So I just brush it back and forth across the bottom of the cup, just like I'm painting back and forth on my canvas. And then I will dry the brush on my towel, and Mom gets a nap again. Okay, so I'm going to take this green with the baby brush. And I could just do little dots in the background. And all I'm doing is just kind of tapping my brush. Swipe, like a little swipe. Tap, swipe, tap, swipe. We're going to use this color to make our green leaves too. So we'll do those in a minute. I'll show you how to add some other fun, colorful confetti also. There, that's fun. Fun times. Looking good, and the elephant is getting pretty dry, so we'll be able to decorate the elephant up real cute pretty soon. But while we've got the green on here, let's go ahead and paint those leaves. So this elephant has a little cluster of leaves that it is clutching in its trunk. And I'll usually start by, leaves are kind of almond shaped, or like they're shaped a lot like an eye. So I'll do that. I do like a almond shape, and sometimes I make mine like an almond that's just been kind of stretched out a little bit. So there's one leaf, and I can fill that in. And then, you know what, I'm going to put one over here. Going this way, there's another almond shape. Fill it in. And let's do like 3 or 4 leaves. So maybe I'll have one pointing out this way, like what's shown on that original painting that's on our website. And I feel like that's a good amount. I feel like if I add more, it might be a little too much, but maybe I could add a little tiny baby one here. So you have to work real small. There. That worked. Now, if you want to add any other colorful things in the background, you can do these spirals in another color. You can do these, the things that we finger painted in another color. You can do the confetti in another color. Let's see what I got. You know, I'm going to use the pink, just not mixed with white. It's just straight up pink. There. I like it so far. Looking good. We are going to draw, let's see here. Just thinking about our direction we'll go. I'm going to go ahead and have us draw the eyes and the mouth, if you're going to draw the smiley mouth, and the ear, because if we have those drawn on there, then we kind of know where to place our decorations. So for all of those things, we want to use the baby brush. Baby is up for work again. And we're going to use black paint, unless you want to make like just a darker gray or something. But I want to mix like 1 drop of water. So I put a little drop of water on here, and I'm stirring some black into it. You don't want it watery thin. You want it just a little bit thinner than that straight out of the bottle paint. Because you can get a nice long brush stroke with a paint that's a little more fluid. I'm going to draw the eye first, and it is right about here. So it's kind of partway between the here and here, about halfway point. And I'm just going to draw a circle that's about the size, a little bit bigger than a quarter, maybe like a $50 size. And I'm going to fill that in with black. We'll add a highlight and make it look real cute after it dries. But you can, if you want, add some eyelashes. I know a lot of people love doing this. And elephants do have eyelashes. So I'll usually do like 1, 2, 3 in the corner. But if you want to do more than that, you can. But 3 is definitely just a good amount to show, yes, this elephant has eyelashes. And then for the ear, it's just a little bit further away this way from the eye, like maybe like an inch. And I'm just going to make a big U. It's going to come down like this, come down partly on the neck and back up. And then this side goes off the canvas, so we don't even have to worry about drawing that side. Cute, cute. And if you want to make like some little, like they have wrinkled ears, I know that's on the original. You can do that if you like it. And now the mouth. I could leave it like this. We are going to outline the whole entire elephant with black. So let's do that. Let's outline the elephant in black first, and then I'll show you how to do the mouth. I like to start at the top of the head, and I'm just using baby brush and just lightly going along. You'll go a little ways, and then your brush is going to run out of paint. You can add a little water in your paint, but not too much. You don't want it runny. That's the hard part, is knowing how much water. Here I go down the trunk. Some people like to turn their canvas and hold it in their lap and do different things to get it outlined, but I just sort of slowly go along. It's never going to be perfect. You're going to have some lines that are a little wobbly, and that's okay. It's a painting. It's not a photograph. We'll leave the photographs to the photographers because we're painting here. Up. When I go up, I actually find it's easier to pull down towards myself. So rather than continuing this line up, I'm going to start up here and I'm going to pull down. Now you find what works for you. It might be easier for your brain for you to go up. And then up along here, I'll trace along there. And again, you can go down or you can go up. I do find pulling down towards myself feels more comfortable to me. Whew, almost done with the outlining. Yay! Outlining can be tough, but I know the kids always do a really good job at it. So I know you will too. Getting to the mouth. So I'm just going to outline this lower lip that sticks out, so cute. And then back down here. Let's see how this goes. Yeah, okay, just curves around down the front of the neck. It looks really, really cute outlined, I have to say. I've got a few spots that are just a little wobbly, or maybe my line didn't line up perfectly, but I'm not going to worry about that because I think overall it looks okay. But I do want to show you, for those of you who didn't do the little lip, if you want to do a smiley mouth, and you can do this in addition to the lip, I'm just going to continue this line. So it's like I take this line, continue it, and just curve up a little bit. You don't want to go too far, because we want this elephant to look like it has like a a normal mouth and not some giant mouth that goes like way back here. If you did make it go back way too far, you're not stuck with that. You can fix it. It's really easy, but you need to let that dry. So hair dry it or just go back to it in a little while. That's usually what I'll have kids do, is just leave it, let it dry, work on something else, then go back to it. And then you're just going to paint your gray over it and touch it up. You may not even need to. And it's just about time for us to start decorating, but I missed outlining the leaves. The leaves in the trunk, I want to outline each of those because they don't stand out super strongly against the background color, because the tone of the green is not all that different from the tone of the blue background color. Their lightness is very similar. So outlining, I just put my hand in my outlined elephant. Outlining with black is going to help. That's the hard part. I like to rest my hand on my painting when I'm working, and then I get like this where I pick up some wet paint. So I have to work on not resting my hand on my painting. All right. If you want to, you know how leaves have that little vein that goes down the center? That looks really cute to add that in there. I'm not pressing very hard. It's just a super light pressure. There. I like that. The next things that we do with this painting are my favorite. So much fun. So much fun decorating. So if I were to paint an elephant, think of all the designs that could be done. Before we're done with this, we are going to put some wrinkles in black that go down the trunk, because they do have that. If we didn't paint those on there, it wouldn't look quite like an elephant. But what I'm going to do now is show you different fun things you can do. So I do like, on the original, Annalise has this cute pink heart, like right where the elephant's cheek is. You don't have to add that. But if you want to, I'm going to show you. So I'm going to take, I like to mix that light pink that we used for the swirls in the background. You can use just straight this reddish pink if you want, or somewhere in between. The white's going to lighten it up. And then I don't know how you draw a heart, but I always learned you start where the point comes down and you draw one side. So half a heart. And then I just try to match the other side. And it's never going to match perfectly. I just try to get it close. There. And now I'll fill that in. I'm using my baby brush. I don't know if I had mentioned that, but for all the decorations, for the most part, I will probably use my baby brush. I might use one of the larger brushes for one thing, but we'll see. That looks cute. I like that little heart. Now, while you've got the pink on your brush, might as well make use of it. Let's see what else we could do. Okay. You could do some pink, let's see, you could do some pink little scallops along here. Just imagine you got the job of painting the elephant for this festival, and you're gonna make it exactly how you like and the colors you like. And everyone's gonna say, "Look at that beautiful painted elephant." I'll show you something cool I'll do here. So I did these little scallops. They're super easy to do. I'm going to bring those up. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make them a little bigger right here. See that? So it's a little bigger, and then it just got a little smaller all the way up here. I guess I could add one more. So I bet if we were to see the other side, if we were to look at the elephant from the front and see the front of the trunk, maybe these like go down into a heart shape. So it's like a whole row of hearts that go down. That's cute. I like that. So I'll show you something fun. I'm going to take my baby brush, or you can use the mom brush, but we're going to use the handle. So let's look at the tiny ends of the handle. And what the dots you're going to make will be the same size as those. So you decide if you want a little bit larger dots, you're going to use mom brush. If you want itty bitty dots, you'll use the baby brush. And I'll take I think I'm going to go with white, but you could go with any color. And you can just stamp a dot in each of these little scallops. It's such an easy way to make a decoration look really detailed. And it was so easy. I'll do these I used to decorate cakes. Before I started the art studio, I always painted, but then I started decorating cakes, and I did that for a job for a couple years. And these are the types of things I would do with frosting. Super easy. So easy. Let's think about what else we could do. Now, one thing I did see on the original painting that I thought was really cute is there's a star right here. And you can do that if you want. And Annalise used yellow, but she mixed a little bit of white with yellow just to lighten it and make it a little more opaque. So opaque means you can't really see through it as much. Opaque is the opposite of something being transparent. So white and yellow, oops, I got a tiny bit of gray in there, but that's all right. It's not enough to cause any issue. So I made this really light. It looks like lemon yogurt, but don't eat it. It won't taste like lemon yogurt. It'll be very disgusting. I'm gonna wash off mom brush and set her aside because this is a job for baby brush. We're drawing a star, and you don't want to use too big of a brush because that wouldn't work very well. So I think I was in kindergarten when I first learned how to draw a star, and we always started by drawing a triangle, but we're not going to do the bottom. You guys probably already know how to do this. And then we go up, and then we go straight across, and one last line to draw. We're going to connect that to that. And then when I fill this all in, you won't see those lines in between. There. And usually when I get it filled in, I'll see that, oh, you know, this one wasn't quite as long enough as the others. And I'll just individually fix each one if needed. I like that. That looks good. And then remember how I showed you how to dot? Oh, it looks like I dragged something through here. It might have been my sleeve. I don't know what I dragged through there, but you know, that might happen to you. It's not that hard to fix. I could just come back with a little gray and touch this up. Come back with a little black and touch that up. Boy, I really did something to it. It's probably on my sleeve now. That happens to me a lot. Most of my clothes have paint on them. So what I was saying, remember when we used the handle of the brush and we stamped these little dots, which I smeared everywhere. Let's use the handle of the brush again. And how about we put a little dot at the end of each star point. And then I'll clean off the handle of the brush, wipe it off on your towel really good. And maybe I'll do a different colored dot after that one. And I'll wipe the handle off one more time. And maybe I will take and do another dot. I'll probably just do 3 because I'm running out of room on some of these. But look how cute that is and how easy it was. Dots are the easiest thing in the world. Fixing them up when you've smeared them is a little bit harder, but it can be done. Just takes a little extra work. I'm still wondering how I did that. I'm going to have to rewind the video and see what happened. Probably I leaned my hand into it again or something. But these ones up here, I'll just sort of paint the gray around them. You guys get to see how the artist fixes her boo-boos. I definitely have them. Every time I paint, there's usually something. The more you practice, the less likely that becomes, but mainly you learn how to fix them because they will happen. All right, so let's see what else we could do. Now, Annalise has a couple flowers drawn up there, which I'll show you. I'll just do them in pink on this paper. Most of you guys probably know how to draw a flower. You just do the little loopy petals that all start at one center. You can do that. You can put those anywhere on your elephant. I could tuck one in right here. One thing that I do almost every time I teach this painting, because it feels so natural with the style of this elephant, I like to do a string of pearls that come down. I've seen the decorated elephants in India before, and they have like a string of coins, like belly dancer coins, this little cool headdress thing on, and I like to do that in little pearls. I'll probably use white, but you could use any color you want. But here's where I want to use a little bit bigger brush. I think I'm going to use dad brush, and I think I'm going to use the handle end. Definitely not this end, that wouldn't look quite right. And I'll stamp it in the, I'm going to use white. And here's what I'll do. I'll just do a dot, and then another dot, and then another dot, and then another dot. And you usually can get about 4 before you have to dip it back in the paint. And what I'm trying to do is make it look like it kind of drapes and comes back up. So that's why I'm sort of going downward. Such a pretty elephant. It's like we're doing her makeup. We're making her all stylish. Or it could be a boy elephant. You can definitely, boy elephants get painted too. Probably even the babies. They probably have fun with it. I imagine a baby elephant being really squirmy and really hard to paint on. I don't know if I've ever seen a painted baby elephant. But I've seen baby elephants and they're very active. So I think painting on one would be really hard. So I've got space between each of these, and I think that's totally fine. When I do a strand of pearls like that, I usually do leave space. But you could pick up your baby brush, and you could put tiny little dots in between with the baby brush. See how I dot in some of these wet dots to pick up paint? That saves me from having to go all the way back to my palette. So I like the look of this because it's big, little, big, little, big, little, big. It just gives it that extra little layer of detailing that didn't take too much extra effort. Aww. Totally adorable. All right. So when I teach this painting in the class, I love the kids. I just say, here's what you can do. You can do flowers, you can do stars, you can do hearts, you can do all kinds of things. You can do beads, whatever. And I let the kids decorate their elephant as they like. And I want to make sure you're doing that too, that you're making it how you like it. If you want a flower up here rather than that, you can absolutely do that. If you want to put hearts down here, you can, because it will all look good. There is one thing I remember I did last time I taught this that I thought was really cute. Let's make another color. I don't know if this one will stand out very well against the gray skin, but we'll see. So I gave you guys 3 colors. We have black and white and then 3 colors. If you mix, I'll use Mom Brush. If you mix this pinkish red with turquoise, pink and blue make purple. Now this isn't a standard dark primary blue. This is a turquoise, so you're going to get a slightly different shade of purple. It's going to be more of a lavender. And this is where the gray tone might not stand out against the gray skin. I mean, it's the gray tone of the skin might not, it might hide this tone of this purple, which I think it will. I could add some white to it though. Let's see what that does. Oh, I like that. Really nice, pretty light lavender. You could play around with putting more pink in it. And before I put my palette away, I'm going to show you one other color mix that you can do. I'm going to wash the brush off. Doo-doo-doo. A lot of paint to wash out. These two colors, the dark pinkish color and yellow, when they're mixed together, so red and yellow make orange, but this isn't a traditional red. This is like a dark pink. So these two together make a color that I would call not orange, I would call it coral. So there is another color to play with. So we started off with, this is the fun of color mixing. We started off with 1, 2, 3. We started with yellow, blue, and pink. We're going to forget black and white for now. And with the yellow, blue, pink, look how many extra colors I was able to make. I was able to make green by mixing these two. I was able to make coral by mixing these two. I was able to make lavender by mixing these two and added a little white. And then I was able to actually just mix white and yellow and get a whole different shade of yellow. So it's kind of fun the way you can just expand and expand. Now if I were to mix the blue, the pink, and the yellow together, let's see what happens there. Just gonna give you a quick little color lesson because I think these three, being that they're like primary colors-ish, kind of, they're shades of primary colors. When they're mixed together, they make not a pretty color. It's brown, and it's not a pretty brown. Of course, you know, beauty's in the eye of the beholder, so you might like this color. This might be your favorite color. So I shouldn't say it doesn't make a pretty brown because maybe you like this color. It's not that bad. I don't think it'll go with my elephant, so I probably won't use it on there. But it could go, and you can make some leaves in that color for sure. I definitely see leaves in that color, especially in the fall. So here's what I want to do. Let's see how this purple stands out. I think it'll be fine. I was telling you that last time I taught this, I did what would look like, if you were to see the top of this elephant's head, it would look like it had a big like daisy flower painted right on the top. So we're just going to see like a half circle. And then from that, you'll just see the petals on this side of the elephant that come down. So they're shaped just like these leaves. I don't have a lot of room because of my beading there. They're shaped exactly like those leaves, and I know you guys know how to do those now. So all we're seeing is half of the flower, because we're just seeing this one side of the elephant. If we were to see the elephant from the top, we'd see the whole entire flower. And you can color each of these in individually if you want. Like I could take, I'll color the center in with turquoise. But I want to leave that black outline because I don't want it to look like the elephant just has this like big dent in its head. It kind of already looks like that because of it being so close to the sky. So maybe I'll go over that. I'm going to do a quick color change on the fly. I'll just paint some of that pink over it. There. Now it won't look like it. My poor elephant has a dent in its head. And then you can paint each of those individual petals in whatever color. Let's see how the coral looks. It's not normally a color I would choose against the purple. But anything goes. I guess it doesn't look so bad. Sometimes stepping out of your comfort zone and trying something you don't think you would normally do can be a good thing. And then sometimes you just have to paint over it and fix it. I've had to do that a lot. A couple more steps we need to do before we sign our painting. Now you guys can just keep decorating and decorating until you get tired of decorating after you've turned the video off. So don't feel like you have to stop when I stop. It is fun to do. I want to put a highlight in the elephant's eye, and then I'm going to paint those little wrinkles that go down just partway down the snout here, the trunk. I hate calling it a snout. That just doesn't sound right. I'll say the trunk. It's a trunk. And I have a little spot I want to touch up real quick where my flower sort of invaded into my black outline here. There. Now what I'm going to do is paint a little shine in the eye, and that is so simple. It's done with white baby brush, and you're literally just going to paint like a little white dot or a little curve. Sometimes if I have a big eye when I'm painting an animal, I'll do a little tiny one on the opposite side. I think that looks so cute. Loving it. I do love this painting. It's so fun to teach and to paint. Now I'll do the trunk wrinkles. And we know elephants are very, very wrinkled. In fact, they have wrinkles all around their eye. Maybe this is a little young one. But even the young ones will have some wrinkles on their trunk. And I make those by just doing slightly curved little black lines that are evenly spaced. They go right over your decoration. But keep this in mind. You don't have to do these. If you left them off, it's not going to look wrong. If you really don't want to paint over these pretty decorations you did, leave them off. You're going to be totally fine. I just didn't want to teach it without them because I know they're on the original. So I've washed my brush. I could add way more decorations to this elephant if I wanted to. All kinds of things. I could add more leaves. I could add falling leaves in the background. Like maybe the elephant picked them off the tree and some fell down. But I am going to let you guys go and I'm going to sign my painting. Now that's really important because you are the artist who designed the painting and you do want to sign it. But I like to keep my signature pretty small because the painting is more about the elephant and the signature is just, that's you. It's you did the painting, you sign it. So I keep it to just my initials, but you can sign it with your first name, last name, whatever you want to do. Famous artists did all kinds of different things. Some wrote just their last name. Some wrote just their first name. Some wrote their whole name. I've got a pretty long name, so I'm just going to do my initials, which are JS. And over the years, I've designed them into a quick little double loop thing that it doesn't even resemble a J or an S anymore, but that's kind of just become my signature thing, I guess. See, it looks like a decoration in the background. So thank you guys for painting the elephant with me. I would love to see your paintings. You can have your parent email them to Vine Go if you want. It's a lot of fun for us to see what everybody's created, especially on these ones where you get to do your own special decorations. So thanks again. Happy elephant painting. And we'll see you guys next time.
Oh.